What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fye and Eric Sheetshaber. We're going to be talking about this NBA slate. It's a different slate on FanDuel than it is on DraftKings, probably worth noting. I'm not playing on FanDuel today, but I did take a look at it, and I'm interested to talk about that with you. But again, we have a ton of value and pretty obvious places to spend up. So I guess the question is going to be, how are we going to get different, and what are we going to do today? What have you noticed today, Sheets? We didn't talk this morning, so what do you think about this?
Dude, all kinds of 6X stuff. Like plus, I mean, you got Ryan Rollins again.
Hopefully.
And he's questionable, but he's like, I haven't projected like almost 9X. You know, like I mean, if he's actually in, I mean, he's going to be 90% owned, right? I mean, I just imagine. Yeah. And then I'm looking again. I have all these Detroit guys. I guess Cade is out. Is that the story?
For Detroit, no, Cade's not out. Jaden Ivey's out. Fontecchio was supposed to start for them. He's out. Yeah. So one of Ron Holland or Sasser will start, either one is a good play anyway. They're both 3K flat.
And they're both 3,000. And then I have Malik Beasley at 4,200.
Yeah. And then you got Beasley, you got Jared McCain.
And the other guy from Philly, I got the Yabusele.
I like Yabusele. Yeah, he's another one, but he's actually not getting. I actually think that he's getting like a little bit under-owned based on SaberSim's projections, because I think he's got some real upside here.
And other values I'm looking at. These are all guys that are about 6X or higher. I haven't heard this guy in a while. Jalen Noel.
Yeah.
For New Orleans, he's showing up a little bit. So, I mean, you can play whoever you want. You know, if you like any of these other guys, I mean, you could probably play two of these guys if you want, between Giannis and Vic and Wemby or whatever. You could probably play them both real easily if you wanted to. But the guy who's showing up really as a strong play, again, is Cat at 8,700. So you could certainly play either Giannis or Wemby with Cat.
Yeah.
And certainly you could play, if you wanted to go down to Tatum, listen to me, go to Tatum, play him with these guys also. Now, again, Giannis didn't have the greatest day yesterday, but, you know, whatever. He's still going to project for 60 points.
Yeah, and it was one day, and I think people are getting a little carried away about.
So he busted, big deal, you know, it's whatever.
Yeah, he averaged 73 points a game last year without Lillard and Middleton, so I'm not going to shy away from Giannis.
When I ran my stuff right now, I mean, I got 100% with Rollins, you know, which means he's probably going to be out. You know, so let's see.
Right. We'll see. And it's not like there's like necessarily a natural pivot, nor do we know who would be starting if he's out. Like we just don't know. Anyway, there's a couple of people asking about NHL stacks. Do you want to talk about if you've done your NHL stuff yet?
Yep. So I guess I'll just I'll just kind of go over who I have. My top NHL stacks are less creative is Colorado. I imagine they're going to be one of the most popular stacks. They have the second or third highest team total. But then the other ones I have, if you want to do something different, I have Anaheim against Vegas. That's showing up, and also the Toronto a little bit. They have a small team total. But again, I just ran everything through SaberSim like the way I usually do. And what I did was, even though it was only a 5-game slate, I still got very stingy with my stack exposures. I mean, I wanted only 4, 3, 5, 2s or 6s. And that's again, probably being a little greedy. It's the equivalent, Bobby, if it was like a 5-game baseball slate to only play 5-man stacks. You know, it's you don't really need to do that. But that's just I'm not saying this to be humble. I'm just not that good at picking the good one-offs, you know. So I think I'm pretty good at identifying, you know, the stacks. So
right.
This way I don't have to be 100% right. If the team goes off, I'll probably get in there, you know.
Right.
So that's why I'm doing it that way. But so for me, it's going to be Colorado, Anaheim, and Toronto. And again, something to note is that there's a gap in games. There's the 2 7:30 games. Then there's an hour and a half before the next bunch. So keep that in mind. And even in hockey, it's certainly, you know, it's worth the late swap.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when are we going to find out? Well, I guess I'll put it another way. Like, what time is like the Rollins game? Like, they're all at 7. They're all pretty close to one another, right?
80.
Oh, no, that's the last one.
Yeah, it's one of the later ones.
So to do the same thing. So there's a 7, 4 730s and then 4 8s and 3 8s, right? And then FanDuel's got the 2 10 o'clockers, right?
Right. And yeah, go ahead. Sorry, shoots.
Rollins, by the way, shows up just as a good play on FanDuel, 3,700. The other guy who's looking at FanDuel is a little different. He's still Beasley, but you might have to deal with that Portland guy again.
Oh, you got I don't even think it's I mean, we don't know for sure who's in yet or what they're going to do, but I'm assuming. I mean, like if I was playing over there, I would take the shots on Klingon in general. I have no issue with that. Also, you don't have Robert Williams tonight.
Really?
So Duop Reith would be the pivot off of Klingon, but I actually am surprised that Klingon's getting as low ownership as that. Maybe just because there's so much value elsewhere.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's going to end up being the case. But you know who's getting a little bit of ownership there? All these centers are not looking high owned. Brooke Lopez 4,900.
Yep.
Decatur 4,600. Klingon you mentioned. What's his name? Claxton, I guess. I don't think I ever made money playing Claxton. But then there's Cat at 9,200. And
well, I guess he's got him forward as eligible. AD, I think Anthony Davis is in a good spot here. There's some guys over there for sure, but you can play him at least you can play AD at forward. I think the later games are pretty interesting on FanDuel for what it's worth. I like that Sacramento Phoenix game, even with Nurkic back in tonight. In fact, with Nurkic back in, maybe 6K is not the ideal price you want for him, but I actually think he's an interesting play on the back-to-back at 6K. And that would be another guy you could consider yet at center. I think those later games are somewhat appealing. I like the Klingon thing, as I mentioned. Shaden Sharp. I don't know what they're going to do with Shaden Sharp on a back-to-back, and he's going to get the ownership. So maybe a pivot of Scoot Henderson would be something you could do on FanDuel. That's something I like a little bit. And what I like on DraftKings is actually translates over there too. I think that this Magic this feels like the game stacking game to me. If you're gonna go for a stack, the Magic make sense on their own. But it's always interesting when you have Batatse at the same price. His projection is four points lower than it was yesterday, and he's projected to be 4% owned on a slate with less. So I like going right back to Batatse along with Wagner. And I like a lot of Franz Wagner, that is, but I don't mind the other Wagner. And I like Halliburton and Mathurin on the other side, who are not getting much love. So I think that's a really interesting game. The only problem is if you play too many guys, I would keep it to like 4 or less, but maybe get a little bit of a game stack in there because you're going to want that Rollins news. And like I said, there's not an exact direct pivot for Rollins. There's nobody 3K flat at Eastern except for both Detroit guys. But you'd want to play somebody from Milwaukee if he's out. Other than just Giannis, and I think it might be DeLon Wright, and it might be AJ Green, it might be Pat Connaughton, but I honestly don't know who they would end up starting without him. I don't think they know either entirely, so it's a little tricky. But yeah, it's an interesting slate. I like it actually quite a bit. There is, I guess we should talk about. I mentioned something that we talked about a while ago. We were trying to do more of these, and a lot of people showed interest, but we haven't re-announced it recently. We want to do some of these late night roundtable coaching sessions, and maybe even incorporate some with some of the live sweats. Anybody who's interested, who's a site member, please DM me, and we'll get you scheduled in. We do have a couple people who've scheduled in there, but we haven't found a time that works for them yet. So, but get on in there. We'd love to do those again. We had a really good time doing that last time, and it was really helpful for a lot of the users. So, and any other thing you guys think of that you would like to see from us, please let us know. I mean, we're trying to do everything we can as transparently as possible. You guys get everything that I'm doing. I upload all my stuff every time, and Sheets has been building not just on air, but he's telling us exactly what he's doing, and also we've got his projections along with Goldie's. And I would just love to know what else you guys would like to see, and also if anybody's interested in any of those roundtable coaching sessions, because I think those are really, really valuable. And a lot. Not to toot my horn in any way, but I know people who I used to coach, like when I was doing it back at Roto Grinders. A lot of people did really, really, really well afterwards, and I think it was just because there was ways of thinking about things that maybe they weren't going through. And things are a little different now with all the sims and everything. But I think that's an interesting conversation for us to have. I think we'd love to do some more of those. So let me know, DM me if you're interested in doing one of these days.
One of those people that he's referring to is joining him on this stream tonight. So
AJ, if you're a member or become a member, but either way, hit me up in the DMs. If you're, I'll attach the Discord link here, but hit me up in the DMs and we'll try to figure out whatever we can. All right. And yeah, so Sheets, you had a nice hold on there last night. That was a pretty.
Oh, we threaded the needle and then we did it.
And almost got the exact number that I thought it was. I said 304, 305, and it was right around there, I think.
Yeah, that was sweet. And I watched that, and then I got a little greedy. I could have gotten overtime there too.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, we're trying to go on a little bit earlier to sort of not cross paths with every single DFS show at the same time. But so right now, there's still obviously information that we're waiting on. Oh, by the way, Dorian Finney-Smith was just ruled out, and Ben Simmons was just ruled out. So I'm gonna have to edit a few things because
what does that mean to the average man?
So at first glance, so it's gonna show up other guys like. Give me a minute on that one because I think it's going to end up being Clowney getting love, which I actually like because it won't be outrageous ownership. I think Clowney, I think he will, and then you've got Jalen Wilson or Zaire Williams who become in play. But we do have other value that might be better. But I think you could play these guys along with them, and Zaire Williams I think is totally reasonable, assuming that he does start. But we'll see who's starting. And it's also a boost to guys like Cam Thomas, Nick Claxton. Actually, just everybody on the Brooklyn side. So we'll see what the projections do with that, but it's probably going to take a tiny bit to update. I just wanted to throw that out. I actually was going to talk about Ben Simmons as a contrarian play today, and I don't think I'm going to be doing that anymore, obviously. Let's see. We got Simmons out. Let's put 0. Let's make sure that I don't have anything there. And Finney-Smith, I already thought was going to be out, but I wasn't sure. Probably a tiny bit of a I don't know. The Celtics are going to be the lowest owned of the spend ups tonight. Maybe you could talk yourself into stacking a little bit of that game because you're going to have options from Brooklyn. I'm not sure entirely exactly how they're going to project yet, but natural thought would be Cam Thomas or Schroeder, Claxton, Jalen Wilson, Noah Clowney, Zaire Williams. Those are going to be the guys fighting for the cheapos there. But I think you might have something going there in that game. And as much as I'd like to say, hey, it'd be cool to fade this first game, I like this spot too much for Orlando, and I think this game could stay close. And I like playing Halliburton at low ownership. He's shown a wide range of outcomes, but I'm willing to gamble on that. He just put up 65 in his last game. I think Schroeder and Cam Thomas would be the two that I like the most from that Brooklyn game for what it's worth. Schroeder has been much better without Simmons, as Bongo Fiesta's pointing out. But again, Cam Thomas, the guy's got a ceiling. You got to just sort of sometimes, look away and say, okay, don't always game log watch, but he's got a ceiling for sure.
How so Simmons? Wait, so who's out? Simmons and DFS are out.
I think we're just gonna have to wait a minute on that one. Soul Content is asking about how do we get the core feature in SaberSim. You can only get it if you have TrueDFS. You can't get the core stuff. Unless you're in Saber, you have TrueDFS SaberSim. So it's in there, but and if you are a TrueDFS member, scroll all the way to the right and you'll see the core plays as well as Sheets and Goldie's projections. They're all the way to the right. You can drag them wherever you want, but that's where they show up as the very.
Yeah, you gotta you make it a little harder. You gotta work for it a little bit.
Yeah, and make it a little extra step. We're trying to get them to make it auto in the main part of the page, but hasn't happened quite yet. So let's see what happens with that one. But I do think that both Schroeder and Cam Thomas, I'm just going to make sure I have a note to play at least some of them tonight against.
So I have a question. So here's a theoretical question. So if I ran SaberSim or whatever, or you ran an Optimal or whatever, and you were playing 150 lineups.
Yeah.
And you got 150 lineups with what's his name, with Rollins. What would you do with that?
Well, not knowing that he's playing and maybe not knowing until like 750 or something, yeah. I would probably just say max of 90 and take 90. But I don't really want to fade it. It's a tough question, to be honest with you. Who else could you go for in the 8 o'clock window? Like you do have both Detroit guys at minimum cost who you could always pivot over to. If you had enough room left, you'd have to DeLon Wright. People will be playing a little bit of the Wembanyama tonight, so that's another. But you'll have some pivotability. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. One other thing that I wanted to mention that I liked earlier, and I do still like, James Harden back in Houston. I feel like I want to take a shot at this one.
Oh, I'm down for a little of that.
And he's not getting an ownership, so I think that's a cool way to get different because it's going to give you a lot of Giannis, who I also like, and you can play him with Giannis. You can play him with Giannis or Wemby or whatever. But I think that Harden back in Houston, it feels like we should get some ownership there. So I'm going to take some shots there. So, look, I'd like to postpone as much as I could in this slate, and it's only an hour just to find out that Rollins news. Maybe we'll get it earlier. Andre Drummond was just ruled out. Okay, this slate is ridiculous.
Is that a thing?
Yes. Yeah, Embiid and him are out, so that means Yabusele's going to look even better. Who else do they start is the question. They don't need to start. Well, they're playing a team with two bigs, so they kind of need to start somebody else. Boy, Philadelphia, what a miserable year. Really glad I bet the under on their year. They're 2-8 right now.
I want to give you guys a heads up on a couple of things. I spoke with Bobby a little bit before we went on about it's kind of different things that we put up there, and there's some things that I just kind of think I wanted to talk about that don't exactly apply to DFS, but maybe they do sometimes, and I just decided I was going to do it anyway. I put out what I thought was a pretty good video up today. It's kind of hidden in where you wouldn't expect to find something good. You know what I mean? It was cross posted, I think, in MMA and sports betting. Actually, It was a thing where I kind of analogized sports betting and the stock market to like the election betting or something. And I listen. I thought it was pretty good actually. So I encourage you to keep checking around for videos like that. Maybe we'll put a different category up, like miscellaneous or I don't know, or theory, or I think that's what I did. I think I cross posted it in process, sports betting, and maybe UFC. And then the other thing I did today, I did a PGA lineup build today, and I did sim using all different sim products. I used the Saber Sim, I did Ace Mind, I did DFS Hero, and I did like a Roto Grinders, just to use the optimals, just to kind of see like the differences and whatever. And I thought that was pretty interesting too. Just again, it helps for the slate a little bit, but it gets you thinking about the game a little bit. So just keep watching for that stuff, because I'll forget to remind everybody when stuff like that comes up. But so Yabusele, I see the things. I didn't even have Andre Drummond like as a thing. I had him at like 4.8x, but then again, like if he was supposed to start.
Yeah, it's going to be, so they already updated some of it. You've got all the other guys, are looking like they're 6x at 3K ish. So you've got KJ Martin, probably my favorite of the bunch, Reggie Jackson, and Jeff Doughton. I don't know the Doughton thing. Jeff Doughton, he's just another one of their guards. I'm not sure I want to go as high on the Doughton idea. I like the idea a little bit of Reggie Jackson. I like the idea a little bit of I like the idea more of KJ Martin than I do of either of them. But that's sort of the updated. You can see the or actually here, let me pull it up real quick.
Kyle Lowry.
They've updated the projection. Lowry is one you could consider, I guess. Somebody's going to have to score points, but I wouldn't put that as, I don't know.
Reggie Jackson, Ricky Council. Is it Adam Bonus season?
I think Yabusele is going to be a great play. That's my prediction. He should start now. They may start KJ Martin, but I wouldn't shy away from Yabusele, and I'm not worried about the ownership. I'll take it. I want to go whatever we think the ownership is updated at. I'm going to keep going a little bit higher. Because I do like that play quite a bit. They still have a lot of bodies, but it's really hard to project guys who haven't played. Because we have no Paul George, no Embiid, no Drummond, which we haven't seen that much of, and it's just kind of a weird situation. Back to back at home against the team that's the winningest team in basketball. I bet them plus the spread today, so I'm not feeling as good about that.
They're still undefeated, right?
They are still undefeated. And the Bulls almost got him in the last one. I almost got that 9-1-er. They had him with a minute to go. but didn't quite cross the finish line. So yeah, I'm going to rerun things in just a second, and let's see. Let's just rebuild with what we've got so far, which is, again, there's going to be plenty of other room. I'm not sure that this Brooklyn thing, in terms of value, is going to matter possibly as much as the Philadelphia stuff now.
Well, let's start with the first game. Okay, that buys us at least a half an hour. We like anything there? You want to just keep playing Wagner every day? I mean, like.
I'm playing. I like Halliburton at low ownership.
Okay.
I like Matherin and I like Turner. This is my initial exposure, just because I wanted to remind myself to get pieces of it.
You go back to Goga too,
and I'm going back to Goga on the other side in a little revenge matchup for him too.
Oh yeah, a little bit, huh?
Yeah. So and I think he's being a little bit under projected. They've even upped his projection a little bit. It was 25 earlier today. Now it's 27.5. So he's gone up a little bit. But yeah, I would go back to Goga in this type of game, and I actually think Wagner's in play. I just don't know if I can do it like over Yabusele. I still think Goga's got a good chance to get to that 35-ish range where he's not currently. And I don't know why the Jonathan Isaac keeps showing up so much. It is a good matchup for him
all the time.
And it's one of those all the time that nobody ever ends up playing.
It's like Garrison Matthews, like
except for Garrison Matthews plays 37 minutes, does nothing. He crushes in 10 minutes, but he only plays 10 minutes, 10 to 18 minutes for Isaac. I like this Orlando team a lot in general. I really do. And they need to figure out, Cole Anthony needs to be freed and let him go somewhere else where he can play like the seventh man role or something. Because I would love to see Cole Anthony getting some more minutes.
Let him come back. Let him play for the Knicks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
You'd
true.
love that.
I don't know how he's getting run on the Knicks though, because all the starters plays 42 minutes.
That's true.
So yeah, K9's asking if Rollins is out, would swapping to Pat Connaughton be a good pivot on? I really think depends on who starts. But I have no problem with Connaughton as is. I just think there's better value out there, and I think both guys from Detroit are better value than Connaughton. Although if Connaughton was to start or something, then I would probably change my mind. If no Brunson, how much McBride do you think you would get? I think we would probably be getting somewhere in the 80+% range of McBride. It would be a tough fade because of the minutes.
If who is out?
Jalen Brunson, who's questionable.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
There's just a lot of Q tags. So maybe I might have to pare down my exposure for those early games just because of all this stuff. And I think that you would get more of everybody on that team. I think you get more Cat, you get more Hart, you get more OG, and just like Bianco Fiesta saying.
Jay Doughton, huh?
Yeah. Is Trey Murphy in play? Trey Murphy's not going to be in play until they release him minutes wise. That was his first game back the other night. They let him play 25. I expect 24 to 28 at $6K at his price or whatever. Yeah, 5,800. I am not going to be playing Trey Murphy. I think he's going to explode at some point. I just don't personally want to play him against the best defense in the NBA right now. So that's my answer to that one.
For what it's worth, I'm getting on FanDuel. I'm getting 100 of the Jeff Doughton right now.
He's 35 over there, huh? Yeah,
he is.
That's what it is. I'm still skeptical about this Doughton. Are they just assuming that he's going to start and they're going to play a three-star starting lineup? I mean,
they'll announce that one of these days.
Yeah.
And I'm also getting. I'm not playing 100 lineups or anything. I'm only playing 15 lineups of FanDuel tonight. But I'm getting 100 of the Rollins there. I'm getting a bunch of. Is the maybe it's not in the oh yes he is. Jaren Jackson is 7,900 over there. I'm getting a bunch of that.
Because there's no. Go ahead. Sorry. What'd you say?
Him and Anthony Davis.
Yeah, the interesting one is Marcus Smart. What kind of minutes does Marcus Smart get here? Because he's supposed to be coming back for the Grizzlies, and. But yeah, Jackson makes sense on paper always, and it's just you just worry about the foul trouble with him. Same thing as always. If he doesn't get in foul trouble, he's probably a great play. If he does, he's probably not.
On DraftKings right now, let me just see.
I don't know if I'm buying.
What would I be getting? I'd be getting 100 of the Rollins. Boy, and right now I wouldn't be getting. Well, what's my projection on the Philly guy that I'm not getting any of him yet? Oh, because I didn't. Yeah, I got him projected at 24.
Sure, I guess maybe.
I'm still not even getting to him.
Yeah, I mean, because you got look at all this value now. There's the Oops. Come on. You got the Sasser at 8x, the Rollins at 8x. And by the way, Ron Holland could just as easily be the 8x guy as Sasser. It's really, you're guessing. Ron Holland's a rookie. He was the one they drafted in the first round. And Sasser has been good in these spots in the past, but Holland could cut into that a little bit. I'm still confused about this Doughton projection, and it's not.
I know. That's got to normalize. Right? That's got to normalize somewhere.
That's one I would like to figure out something else probably. And it looks like we're projecting that Zaire Williams starts. I think that's a reasonable play. But again, there's just so much value out there. I think you're going to end up with a lot of builds like with, a ton of Giannis, a ton of Wagner, and the pivots are really going to be, I think, where you can try and do something. Even Shea's getting a ton of ownership. Maybe the Celtics guys are a way to go. That's a little bit off the board. Something I need to look at again. I just want to see these numbers sort of round out and make some sense. And Clowney showing up as a reasonable play. I just want to get make sure I have some of this here.
Oh, so I have a bet tonight. I was given a bonus bet or whatever if I bet on a college basketball game. So I was very, very scientific about it. Yeah, I bet on literally a college I've never heard of, and I thought I'd heard of every school. So I just looked at
What's the school?
I have a team that's laying 4.5 points, and I don't know who they are, what state they're in.
Tell me who they are. I'll bet you.
Bellarmine.
Bellarmine.
Exactly.
Got to be one of the Carolinas or something.
I imagine it's in Indiana because they're playing Southern Indiana.
Okay, yeah, it's got to be in Indiana then.
So Bellarmine, and I posted this in one of the other Discords, and somebody had heard of them. They're like, "Oh yeah, they pack it in, they make teams shoot over the top. You don't want to lay points to them." I'm like, you know what? That's good enough for me. I'll tell you. So I'm laying 4.5 with.
Oh, it's in Kentucky
with Bellarmine. So Bellarmine, Kentucky. Okay.
They've been in. This is their 4th year in existence. That's crazy.
There it is, and they're favored in a game.
It's like we have a school right near us. It's in Westlake. It's a high school that literally the first year that they existed as a school, they have the #1 high school football team in the country. Because it's where every athlete's kids go there. It's a private school, and it's like they're like it's got like Gretzky's kids and all the superstars' kids are like all going there. So it's like
that's great.
This is funny.
That's great.
And McCain is the obvious one over Doughton, by the way, as Jimmy's pointing out. But the difference is the problem is he's more expensive, and I'm just not sure about this Doughton thing, this projection. I'm not saying he's not going to get to his projection. I'm not really sure where the room is.
Many people are doubting him.
That's right. I'm definitely doubting this. Right now.
Yeah, me too.
For what it's worth, guys, check out the bets. I just want to remind everybody, the DFS has not been the greatest for the last, little period of time for me. But the bets have been unbelievable. So I'm posting them every day for NBA. I'm posting them for NFL every week. And I'm betting on every game. And the odds it's been really, really good. So I would encourage people to take a look at it. Today, I'm already regretting some of my bets because I think I bet Philly to cover.
You didn't bet Bellarmine?
I could get a better number on Philly now. I did not bet on Bellarmine though. I didn't catch the Bellarmine thing. That's weird. It says nonprofit. Aren't they all months? I mean, whatever. Guess they aren't. All right. So
I just got great news.
What's that?
Stacy, got great news. Well, it's bad for you. Jordy is out.
Jordy?
Okay, Jordy is out. He was questionable, and he's out.
What is that?
So now it's more usage for everybody else at our dinner table tomorrow night.
Oh. I was trying to figure out what you're talking about. I was like, I didn't know Stacey was into one of these sports.
Yeah, we had 13 people, and we could have had a table for 7 or 6 or 1 for 12. So we were waiting on news for one.
Oh, that's good.
From scratch. So that was we projected for that though. So
my family has this conversation all the time, and this is probably not the greatest sports content, but I think it's kind of funny. It's how many is the maximum people you can have at one table? Because our family will occasionally just go to, and we have a huge family, so we'll have
your family is like 400 people.
We'll have a table for 24 though, or 26, and I'm like, well, that's 3 different tables. Why don't we just do different 8s? You're not talking to anybody on the other side of the 24-person table. There's no tables round that are small enough that you can fit somebody. So it's really tricky.
By the way, based on our I totally forgot to send this to you the other day. I'm sending you something based on our conversation about your family tree the other day. Bless you. That I think you'll appreciate.
Oh yeah. Okay.
All right. Dinner is going to be here in a second, so I'm going to get out of here.
Okay. All right.
I will catch up to you later.
Okay, for everybody who's on the site, all right, good man. That sounds good. I'll be in the Discord asking anything, and we're gonna start doing some. Maybe I'll start doing some voiceover stuff in the Discord too when these weird slates with all this news comes through. Hopefully now a game time decision. I think we just have to wait and see how things normalize.
Who's a game time decision?
Mobley.
Oh, great. Okay.
All right, man. Take it easy. Yeah, so guys, I'll be in the Discord if anybody has any questions or thoughts. It's going to be a lot of a shit show. So just post anything and post what you think. I like Bongo Fiesta's had some good takes in there recently. But jump on in there and say what you got, and we'll follow up with you in there. Good luck to everybody tonight. Hope you crush it, and